So let's call the Woodbury Select Board meeting to order on Monday, June 23rd, 2025 at 6:01.
Actually, I think I was there for that.
So first thing to do is any adjustments to the agenda?
Here she comes.
I have one, which is that we talked about Retta is coming in, the
Yeah.
fire department president,
Okay.
for us to sign the contract with the fire department. And then I think we also wanted to hear from John Gordon on the buyouts and maybe even the emergency, I don't know how to phrase that.
The drill or the simulation.
The simulation, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And so I guess we'll just do that right after public comment, if you're agreeable. Any other adjustments to the agenda?
I had one thing to mention, but I'll do it under the town clerk's report.
Okay. All right, and so the next item is to approve minutes from June 9th, 2025. There was one suggestion for an alteration to the minutes.
Which I did make,
Oh, you did?
yeah.
Okay, great. And it had to do with the road commissioner's report.
Lizzie
and-
being a soft hand as usual.
Okay. Just like to keep things smooth. Thank you.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve these.
All right, to approve the minutes for the June
We
9th.
have somebody coming en route for public comment.
Okay,
What
They
time?
thought it was up to the library, so they've been sitting up there since 5:30.
all right.
Okay.
Robin,
So
are you
over
coming
here.
in? You want to use this one?
All right, any discussion regarding the minutes from June 9th, 2025? There's a motion that we accept them as written. Hearing none,
Guys, but
all those in favor, please say aye.
I,
Hi.
And I signed that.
thank you.
Yep.
Oh, sign it.
So we don't have, unless there's other public comment, we might as well, I know that we might as well go on and do some other things, and we'll come back to public comment after we let Mr. Gordon and Retta speak. We already adjusted the agenda to include that, so you're here, we'll let Retta jump into your seat as soon as you're done. Down.
So I got the sub-grant agreement from the state. They are gonna want you to review and sign and initial all the initial spots, and the signed spots are on page 4, but there's about 10 pages of appendices after that, all the boilerplate that says thou shalt follow all of our rules and stuff.
Okay.
So same thing as what I sent you in email form, but that's that in hard copy form.
So we could probably do that during our 7 o'clock work today, if that's all right. And then can we leave it here?
Or if you can scan it and email it to me, or you can leave it here and I'll pick it up, whichever.
Something like that. All right.
Something like that. And then the little simulation they're running on Wednesday, VM is running. And if they follow their procedures, they'll be reaching out to myself or you or Paul or all the above, I don't know. And basically what it is, they've got their little spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet has simulated information on it. And whoever they reach out to, that's what we're supposed to tell them.
Do you mind just giving a little context? Because
Yeah.
I only asked Diana if she had seen it ever before, so Liz and Lily.
So
and
Vermont
Robin know
Emergency
about it.
Management is running a simulation. It's basically to test their communication. And so what they've done is all the LEMPs, local emergency management plans, were due June 1, and the main thing about those is contact information. So now they're testing their contact information. So they came up with a little scenario. They've got a spreadsheet of all the towns, and they've got information that they've put into their little spreadsheet that says, what has this simulated disaster affected? Who has it affected? And how has it affected them? and most of the towns don't have anything, and then some towns have some. We're severely affected, so our little line on the spreadsheet has quite a bit of
I
information.
wondered if that was because you just sent it in at the last minute or
I think so. I think it's probably based on what towns were hit hard
Yeah.
in the past
Okay.
and whatnot.
Yep.
Some towns haven't even gotten theirs done,
Ah,
so.
so,
But that's basically what they're doing. They're running a little simulation. They're going to be reaching out to the people on the front page of the LEMP, which is myself and Chris and Paul Cerruti. And whoever we reach out to, what we're supposed to parrot back to them is information on the spreadsheet. So you might just print out that line or whatever and have it with you in case they reach out to you. That way you can make them happy.
All right, this would be, what day is it again?
Wednesday.
Wednesday this week.
what kind of phone number do they have on there? Was his cell phone or his,
522-6471.
Yeah, that's right.
so that's your cell phone, okay, so they might be able to find you.
So that's the simulation on Wednesday. You got the sub-grant agreement, and then since I was here, I figured I'd just ask about the other things, the appraiser and the lawyer.
So I asked you today if what we need the lawyer for, so I can tell them what we're looking
For
for.
property transfer.
But to do the whole deal of the deed and everything, or is they gonna give us a deed and we just have to review it
I
and
think-
sign it?
I don't know for
Okay.
sure, but I think what's going to happen is we're supposed to put the our lawyer on our end in contact with the state, and the state's gonna give them the specifics of what needs to be on the deed. That's my understanding. But if you have specific questions, I'll run those back. But most of what they said was, let us know who the town's lawyer will be for the property transfer.
Yeah.
So if they need more details than that, I'll
Yeah.
give me a specific question. I'll try to get a specific answer.
Okay, then I did hire an appraiser today.
Very good.
I mean, you can't go on Google and look for an appraiser anymore because it just gives you all these Angie and all these other sites. So I happen to have an old couple of phone books, and I found a guy in Montpelier, and he actually answered the phone, and
That helps.
yeah. So I said, cool. It was within the budget, so I.
Yeah.
He said if he would do it within 4 weeks, but he said if it needs to be sooner, he might be able to put it in.
I doubt it.
You doubt that it needs to be sooner?
So the
Yeah.
main thing is, like I said, appraise it as of
Right, as of, right.
for the flood. So.
Yeah, and I left him your number as far as access.
Very good. And I've been in contact with Chad, so he knows that this is gonna be coming.
Thanks, John. I may touch base with you to find out exactly what I should be giving those guys back.
I'll cut out, I'll excerpt that stuff and send it to you.
Thanks.
So it's not in the middle of everything.
And if, because I'm not always within cell service, but if on that day they go probably to the next phone number on the list.
Don't know. That's part of the simulation.
All right.
But I will be around, and you know, whether my phone rings, we'll see. But it doesn't always ring with Wi-Fi calling, but I'll be available. So and I'll let Paul know that it might happen too. So
Thank you.
Is Chris the only one of us who will be likely to get a phone call?
He's the only one that's on the front page of this, and my understanding is that's who they're reaching out to. Is the possibilities of the 3 people on the front page of this. So
Cool.
that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Is that fan turned back on? Is that bothering you? Oh, they just turned it off.
Hey,
Hi. Thanks, Red, for coming.
so, yeah, you have a copy of the contracts, I brought another one if you
I mean, you sent it by email, digitally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I didn't print it out.
I have one printed out, just in case.
I have one question.
Yes.
Why did it go to a contract from a memorandum of,
We're trying to standardize the contracts between the 2 towns. And some of the stuff in the old memorandum, MOU, didn't apply anymore. So, that's why we did it. I mean, have you all read it?
I had not had an
I
opportunity.
did.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
I think the substance is as it's always been.
Yeah, that was
but my question is, why did it go from an MOU to a contract. You could have changed the MOU.
Because we have a contract with Callis, so we decided to do a contract. We don't have to do it that way, but
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, there's no
We've
real
had one
reason.
since
yeah,
way
I mean,
back
they
in the
both
day.
have the same legal effect,
Okay.
Yes.
you know.
I'm trying to just make sure that the two towns are getting the same basic verbiage.
Okay.
That's all.
So, but nobody sat down and compared this to the MOU. But you're
Yeah,
saying,
no, I read through the MOU and I said, why don't we just use the same contract
Oh.
here in Callis, because it covers all the bases.
okay.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing, because I went through it.
Oh, you
Because I
did,
was trying
okay.
to
Oh, thank you.
determine why it went from that
Yeah.
to
It
this.
was as simple
Thank
as
you.
just trying to standardize some of this paperwork or whatever. Yep.
So it also is a standard language from last year too about if you need to call in anybody else, costs incurred in this manner shall be the responsibility of the town of Woodbury.
Correct,
Is that the
that's
way it's
correct. We
always
have
been?
have to call in an excavator or something
Yeah.
like that.
It's always been like
It's been
that.
that
That's
long,
why we
yeah.
have that $5,000 sitting
Correct.
in there.
The only time we've used it was we had to hire a skidder to pull engine 2 out of a forest fire one time.
So I guess what we would need is probably, if everybody's in agreement, a motion to sign the contract.
Oh, I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion that we sign the contract with the Woodbury Volunteer Fire Department, Inc. for July 1, 25 through June 30th, 26 for all the very valuable services that they provide.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
You guys should get an audit.
Yeah,
Talked about that, right?
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it'd be a great idea. Our building is really nice. It's
vote for that.
Callis wanted a little bit of an update, we had, the hot water heater had to be replaced because it was leaking before the plumber disconnected stuff, left a valve, flooded 2 rooms.
Yes, he
The
did.
new,
The new-
Oh, yeah, our
station.
brand new water heater failed. At
Yes,
least new things usually break early.
yeah.
Yeah, and
last
we
very long.
got the water all cleaned up, and I have a commercial air carpet dryer and brought that in. No damage, no mold, but that was exciting. We're tentatively planning on having the open house on July 19th, and we'll be getting out information about that, so people can come and see. But, yeah.
And then the additional addition?
Funding's approved by USDA. The architect is supposed to have the plans finished to 100% by the end of this month, where then they can be submitted for approval. And then we can go out to bid. So we're still kind of grinding away, waiting for others to do things.
Do you have any concern that at any time the money can be,
Not yet. I mean, right now, it's the
Back.
funding's committed, so the only concern I have is, will it come in the
In
budgetary window that we have money to do it in? Because the longer we wait, you know, I'm guessing anything that happens will be next spring at the earliest, and so. It's gonna cost a lot more doing it this way, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to keep this contract and send us a copy, or vice versa? Who keeps the original usually?
Usually, isn't there 2 copies where we have an original signature and you have an original?
That's what we usually do. Usually there's 2 originals signed.
We send ours too.
We didn't do that with Callis.
Real quick too, no official business needs to be handled, but we had talked about you guys taking over heat and electric for the annex starting July 1st. With the building being sold, I was gonna suggest we swap buildings. You take over the heat and electric for the main firehouse. Because until,
what building being sold?
you're gonna be buying the old station from us through this hazard mitigation grant that we're doing.
Oh,
That's the next step in it once they do the appraisal.
okay.
You guys would end up owning it. So the problem is it would have to be heated until the water in the whole building comes down and the water gets moved, you won't have any water in the town hall or the post office. So my suggestion, we need to act on it tonight, is instead of, we had originally talked last year about you guys taking over the annex heat and electric.
Right.
We would keep that for the winter till next July, hopefully something happens by then. But you would take over the heat and electric for the main fire station until such time that it gets through the process of being torn down, and which I can't imagine is gonna happen this year, but who knows, right?
Didn't you get a brand new heating system in there?
No, it was just repaired.
Oh, darn. Okay, so I was thinking you could resell it or something, but
So if we're still okay with that, I didn't know if Retta could work with someone here on doing that in July, like getting the meter switched over.
Yeah, that's just probably calling Hardwick Electric or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll deal with the oil and all that stuff at closing like a regular, I don't know how this is all gonna work with the state, but I know we were in the appraisal stage is what John explained to me now, and then at some point there'll be a closing.
Doesn't seem like it's a problem.
It's just a switch, since we're gonna be in that other building, so.
And then once that happens, next year we would take over the annex again.
Right, we'll see how all that goes, because again, I'm still in mystery land of exactly how everything's gonna go, but
Depends how the addition comes out.
Yeah.
wish I had good information, but I'm still waiting for other people to
so
do things.
the fire station has to come to the town first before it can be bought out?
Right, so what happens
Or down?
is, so what they did, I get the, John, wish John was, so what happens is the town owns the land, we
Right.
own the building. To
Right.
make the grant work, the grant work, they're going to pay us through you for the value of the building. Then you own it all. The same thing happens with the neighbor's house. You're actually gonna be buying the neighbor's house using the grant funds. That's how this works. And I didn't understand this either, and then you'll officially own it. They're saying sometime before winter is what they're hoping.
But we have to give the money to you?
Right, it'll be just like a regular bank closing. The money comes through the state to you, to us,
Okay.
and to the neighboring
Yeah.
property, that homeowner as well.
Yeah.
It's all under one grant, so
Yeah.
that's what'll happen. That's how it actually works. The same thing, it works the same way for the store. And then the process begins with you folks of bidding to get the buildings remediated. And again, John's not here, but that's the way he kind of explained it to me.
He'll do that, yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't understand, that's way of my understanding of the process.
So Paul, I'm a little confused, but we would be taking over the heat and electric for not the new fire station, but
No, the
Which
old
building?
fire station, just for the amount of time, because the problem is if we
Yeah,
don't heat
okay.
it, yeah, if we don't heat it and keep the lights on, there won't be water for the two other buildings that it feeds.
yeah,
And then we're gonna
okay.
take over the annex.
And we've already moved most of our stuff to the annex. So we're gonna stay there this winter because we're worried about it flooding again this summer, which is why we moved everything out of there, other than our weight room is still in there, but.
Skip, you have a question?
Yeah, so with the monies that you get from this mitigation grant that flows through the town,
Yep,
will the town be able to utilize some of those funds to demo the building?
so that's a different part of the grant. There's a whole
That's not
other-
my question.
Oh, sorry.
Will the town be able to use some of those funds to demo the building?
Res was that part, demolishing the two old buildings is part of the grant. It's the next step in the grant. All the funding to remove the properties and turn them into green space is the next piece of the grant.
Right, so the town's not on the hook for.
Correct.
Okay.
Right, you're right.
Yeah,
So
I just
again,
wanted-
that I didn't understand. I thought it did it all at once. What happens is there's a closing, you end up owning everything, including the house across the street. And then through a bidding process, you go ahead and remove the buildings and
So the town would have to go out to bid to
Right.
demo the building,
all of that stuff, right? And they're gonna walk you through this process.
Well, John-
remediate any asbestos.
Anything that's there, correct, would all be covered.
But asbestos is in the
I don't think there's any, but
grant application budget here.
I didn't wanna get too far, because John's been handling it, so I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
a ton about it, but
Maybe John and I can talk.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure, ask about the switching of which buildings we were gonna have you take over. That is all I wanted to talk
It
about.
says a property purchase, yeah, $100,000, and then down here, the demolition and final site work, $120,000, but, so there's money there for everything, I
Correct.
guess.
Cool.
Okay, back to your addition. You
Yes.
said it's gonna end up costing more. Does that mean you're asking the
No,
town,
no, no, no.
okay?
What I'm trying to
thank you."
say is that we built the main station for $350 a square foot. We're predicting $550 a square foot for the addition because of the federal requirements.
Okay.
all the extra money. That's what I mean by that. Now, who knows? I don't know what's gonna cost when they go out and bid. I have no idea, but.
Okay.
That's what I was getting at, is if you compared, if I could have built it last summer and just let me continue with the money, we could have built it a whole lot cheaper than it's gonna get built.
Yep. Okay.
Now, because we've spent a lot of money on studies and environmental studies and drilling through dirt we're not gonna use, and
Well, we could have dug it out and then drilled.
So there is still an underground oil tank.
at the old station, correct?
Yeah. But there hasn't been any digging around for,
No. And it is recorded, so it's on the title search that they did, you have that.
That'll be paid for by the town.
Anything that's there is all paid for by the grant.
Thank you.
No worries. So I'll have Retta work with someone just to switch things over. Okay, thank you.
Makes sense.
Enjoy your night.
Bye.
You too.
Thanks.
All right, folks, we'll go back to public comment. I believe that our member of the public is here. All right. Hi. You want to come in? I'm Chris.
My name's Sabina Perry.
Hi, Sabina. Nice to
How
meet
are
you.
you?
I'm well. How are you? Do you know Diana?
Diana?
yeah.
How are you?
Okay.
Hi, Sabina. I'm Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie.
How are you?
Nice to meet you in person.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, Robin. How are you?
Good. Hi.
Hi.
Lily.
Lily.
Nice to meet you.
Let's go.
Hey. Nice to see you here.
So we went back to public comment, so we're into public
I
comment.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I've
sure.
been at the library.
Yeah.
So that's where everybody said, go down there. So I've been sitting there and I'm like, so, I hope I don't sound a little scattered because I rushed over here. And then this is kind of a little intimidating, so I just, I don't know everybody and I just wanna,
We're all friends here.
Yeah.
well, I hope that because, I actually, reviewed the video from last month. And I was very upset to hear some of the things that were said on your behalf regarding my husband and I. And that's the reason I'm here today, is that my husband and I are people that we reach our hand out. We don't put our hand down on anybody. We want to be respectful. We've lived in this town for many years, never had to come to a select board meeting to defend or represent myself or my husband. So. And this is all about a culvert, and it's like so much drama. This, I feel like it could have been handled a little bit differently and not in the public eye. And some of the things that were said was upsetting, and I'd ask you to review that video and see where you can see what I'm talking about. But first off, I want to thank everyone for what you do for the town as a select board. I know that's not easy. And being a road foreman and the road crew, totally not easy. And as we've talked before, you can't please everybody and you try to do the best you can. And we totally understand that. And like during the flood, chaos, right? And we totally understood. We're not number one on that road. There's so much more. We tried to do what we could to help the community in navigating how to get around, telling them don't go up the hill. Mr. Smith did a monumental task for our road by clearing out that mud slide so that some emergency people could get through. So
Who's Mr. Smith?
Jim Smith,
Brandy's.
Oh, okay. Oh,
he
okay.
used his own equipment. Everybody was like the Vermont way. We were neighbors helping neighbors, and Prescott's were helping us, and Smiths were helping our neighbors, the Demers, and so forth. So I just want to put that out there, though. That's not what I heard last week, or last month, June 9th. So I heard the comments, and then Lizzie, you called me and we spoke, and I don't recall the option of the $100 to pay for the upgrade. We didn't have a price, but then when I went back to the video, I hear the conversations and people are talking at the same time, and it was like, okay,
Yeah.
rewind. Okay, Diana said 100 for the upgrade for the culvert to make it the 18.
I don't think that was an
Yeah.
option
Yeah,
that
I
we.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check it out. It's really funny when afterwards you go back and review, you're like, oh yeah. But that's what was,
600 sticks in my mind, but
Yeah.
yeah, which the cost of an 18
Cost of the
inch
culvert.
culvert is 600. That's my recollection, but I could be wrong. Maybe somebody misspoke.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Well-
I don't want to interrupt your public comment
yeah,
time.
so sorry, and I don't know how much time, and I had like a couple topics and now I just got off, but my understanding was that there was the offer to cut the culvert, which that was nixed, and then make the people whole, is what I gathered from the meeting, make them whole. So we would get, and you and I talked and we said, fine with the plastic, same size. But then in the meeting, I could have swore it was like, oh, well, if they want to upgrade it, then it's $100 because that's the difference of what it would cost for that and this. And where I go with this next part is even just now like, oh, well, we don't remember saying that, but then I say, I did hear it, but luckily you have a video, then you can go back. But if you, my understanding were there were people getting the culverts paid for. I'm not here to, I'm just saying, if there are, like say there was people getting culverts and now we just can't do it as a town because we don't have the budget to do it, blah, 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 that's fine. But is there like something that you would put in your bylaws to say, okay, as of June 2025, the town's no longer doing that because,
Can I just make a point of
Yeah.
clarification that we have not replaced anybody's culvert. There was one culvert on your road, I believe, that got replaced.
No.
Didn't get replaced. It
talked
got
about.
fixed. It got talked about. There was an offer. Alfie suggested, and this has happened in Calais when he was there, is that the culvert could be bigger. And if the homeowners were willing, Alfie had to go back and repair some stone walls and flush the culvert out anyways. He's like, if they want to buy the culvert, I'll put in a bigger culvert for
oh,
them.
this is, you're talking about the Demers property.
Somebody else on your road, right?
Okay.
But that is the extent of any, we're not in the, we've agreed as a select board, we're not replacing people's culverts for them.
In general,
Yeah.
in general, it never has happened in the past. If people have a driveway culvert, that's their responsibility, but because of the floods and things that have happened in the last couple of years, we've talked about if we can show that the person's culvert failed because of something that the road, did wrong or some other.
Not even the road crew did wrong, but that.
No, but
that
another
happened
culvert
because of the road.
No,
across
she
the
said
road.
road, not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
crew.
Yeah, but
That was a certain criteria or certain time frame when one of our culverts that we put in after the flood frozen.
Right, the one
So,
right up by the quarry.
The
right,
big one,
yeah.
right, the 3-footer.
Yeah.
So that froze, and when it thawed, when we got the big thaw and the rain, all that water couldn't go through the 3-foot and it came down
The road,
and it plugged up the one above you and yours.
right.
But even so, even in those cases, the offer we made once or twice was that the town would do the work of replacing the culvert if the homeowner paid for the culvert, which is actually a small part of the entire cost if you had to pay somebody to, come and replace your culvert.
Understood.
That's what we did in a couple of cases, but
And so in your case, if you don't mind me jumping in, is that we decided as a board that it was damaged by the town that damaged your culvert, so that's why we would replace your culvert.
Right.
So if you wanted to make your culvert bigger and wanted to buy a bigger culvert, I think we were in agreement that we would put in a bigger culvert for you, since it's got to be repaired
Right, but
anyways.
Now the negotiation of the price seems a little different than when I came in here, because I was like, okay, fine. Well, I did have this, it was like a little history of what we've experienced on the road through, the time that I've lived there. And it's really only the last few years of the flood, so that's kind of like a little history of what we've experienced. So if you're now saying that the culvert's $600 for a larger size, that's not gonna be something that I'm going to,
have to defer to Alfie, I don't know the
Yeah,
exact
so
numbers.
after you and I spoke at the culvert, when I was trying to flush it that day,
Yeah.
you asked me to get a quote for the price of the culvert, just buying
Well,
the
yeah.
culvert, right? So I did that, and I came, it was like 2 weeks that I tried to come by your house and show you that and have more of a conversation. Whether it was just timing, that you were gone, or what had happened, why I wasn't able to connect. I stopped in the morning, I stopped in the evening. I didn't have a phone number, so I couldn't reach you that way. So the only way I could try to reach you was stopping by. So I made a lot of effort to get a hold of you, to show you the cost of the culverts and give you the option of which plastic or.
I appreciate that,
And so now, we gotta figure out what we gotta do, because your culvert is still plugged, it's still not functioning.
Right,
And
because it's going underneath the culvert, right? That's what the last conversation was, that the water's going underneath the
Well,
culvert.
the water's gonna find its way.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and the culvert itself is plugged with gravel,
Right,
and so it's gonna find its way. So I think we gotta do something with it. Whatever terms we come with, I'm open to agreeing to.
I think we can go back to the original select board decision, which is that if you want your the same size culvert replaced that you have, the town will do it. If you would like to pay for a bigger culvert, the town will do that. But that's,
right, but we don't have a price of what the bigger one is.
It's like $600. The bigger gray pipe, which is heavier duty, it's around $600.
But that's the entire cost.
That's
For a
just
culvert.
buying the pipe, that's just buying.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
And the
that's
town
just-
would install
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Which
At-
But
At
she's
no cost.
asking what would be
Right,
the
but
price for
then,
the.
now okay,
Bigger.
so if we just back this up a little bit, I'm going to replace the culvert, yeah, I'm in agreement with that, because it's crushed on the end, and it's not functionable. But,
will you do half?
and see, why is this like we're at an auction when, this is what my understanding, and this, I'm saying this respectfully, I don't want to argue, it's just something as a community member I've heard and want to kind of clarify, that Swenson's gives this town $25,000 to maintain that road. And there's like money for culverts and all this stuff, and I'm not a road crew person, I just live there, I see what's happened over the years and stuff, and it's just like, so are the culverts not part of the infrastructure of that road? Because, like, you have the road, you have to gravel that, you have to plow it, there's like maintenance things that you have to do to keep the road to the level that those granite trucks can come through, which we've had some issues that, you know, from March to June, only the trucks can go up and a car has to go after, because the shoulders are so degraded in that section of our property and the road. So I'm just, that would be probably another side conversation, because I don't want to take all your time, and I know public comment's only supposed to be a certain amount.
So just to like really specifically answer your question about the infrastructure, my understanding, Alfie, you can weigh in here, is that the culverts that run like under the road are road culverts, but the culverts that are for people's driveways belong to the landowner, not the town. So they're the landowner's responsibility.
Right, but the ditch is what the ditches that go along the side of the road, which the driveways come across that as well, is the water runoff from the road. So that's what made me think, is this part of the maintenance, because it's road water.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, well, I'm gonna bring it to the board, because I think that it's a conversation to be had. Again, I don't know, now we're haggling to pay half of 600, so now if I go, here's my 100, let's do that.
So
And
I
we
don't
had
know
an
if we should be-
auction.
I don't think
I'm
we should
just
be
trying to
manipulating.
come to a
No, well,
solution, that's all.
I know, same
As much
as
as you
me,
do, I
but
wanna put this behind us.
I came here
Got a lot of
ready
work
to
to
pay
do
the
this summer.
$100, and I wasn't aware of that, because again, on the video, that's what I
So,
heard.
you know, we kind of also have a policy during public comment that we're not going to make decisions like on
That's
the fly.
great.
So I
Okay.
think that we can talk about this later during the road commissioner's report if we want, if the board would like to. but we probably won't make a decision like this minute.
Okay.
And we can get back to you at another,
I would appreciate that.
yeah, for sure.
I have your number, so
Yeah.
I
Okay,
can
yeah.
reach out once
Yeah.
we've had a chance to talk about
And
it.
just my one thing, I would love to help the town, I would volunteer to help, maybe help communicate some of the things that you want to communicate to the town about roads. Similar to what Cabot does. I want to like foster positive things from other communities. When the emergency happened for the flooding, I saw what you were doing. You were doing what you could to get everything, and it was a mess in this town. But Cabot, I see, oh, okay, SIG grids. Jug Brook is closed. We're gonna do maintenance on it this day. So everybody in the community was aware that that road was closed and that they needed to go around, and you could see everybody talking about it. And I would like to volunteer my time to help if we could do something like that for this town. And I think that would relieve you from all the angst and anxiety of dealing with folks that are just misinformed because they don't have the information.
I have seen some of the newsletters and stuff that come out of Cabot, but they have a much bigger population and a bigger staff than we do, so, you know.
But I'm willing to give my time to
Sabrina,
help,
that's
if
really
that
kind
would
of
be a
you.
way if I
For
could.
sure.
I just want a solution based to try to help.
you.
I would love to help, so if that could help you, because I understand, and we talked about that, and
Yeah.
I just don't want any issues with anybody. I don't have any issues with my neighbors, I don't want any issues with you or anybody else in this town, and so I want to reach my hand out and see what I can do to help. That's one of my things.
We can include that in our conversation, and thank you, that's a really nice thing of you to offer.
And the only other thing is, and this is gonna be the elephant in the room and this thorn in your side, but the culvert that we were given for temporary use, the Prescott culvert, that, so our culvert was blocked. There was a big ditch. Now this was in 2003, or 2023. And my husband and Wayne were trying to fix the culvert, and, Wayne offered us to borrow his culvert. It got smashed supposedly, I don't know, it didn't, we asked you guys to put it on after you got it fixed, ours fixed, to put Wayne's on his property after it was done, and then it got crushed.
Who's Wayne?
He's
Is he
the-
across the street?
Prescott, across
But
the
the-
road.
Okay, yeah.
But the fact is, it was given to us to borrow in temporary use because we didn't have a way to get out of the driveway for 2 days, and my husband was gonna go to work. So they put it in, you came by when they were burying it, and you said, we'll get to you guys, you know, and like normal, and we all said, we understand the chaos,
Right.
we're just doing what we can to make our own lives easier. And the culvert never appeared again, and Wayne came and asked, where's my culvert? And you said it got crushed, do you want it? Nobody wants a crushed item.
How
I'm
did
not
it
gonna
get
go to,
Right. No, I,
it got crushed by them working on the culvert supposedly. I don't know, the culvert disappeared, that's all that matters.
Was
It
it-
was on our property and we want it reimbursed, we want the culvert back.
Just to clarify, because you told me this when we spoke on the phone, was it a volunteer who was doing the work when the culvert came up missing? You
I
said
believe
something
so,
about,
yeah.
I don't want to throw names out,
Yeah,
but. So it wasn't a road crew member, it was a volunteer.
It was a person working for the.
Person.
Yeah,
Time,
okay,
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I understood that
Same as
correctly.
everybody trying to help.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
person went out of their way to help, and I appreciate that, and I understand mistakes happen, but we can't just go on somebody's, take something and not make us whole again, you know,
Right.
you don't just come to somebody's house and take that. So.
Yeah.
so this culvert was under your driveway?
So our culvert's closest to the road, the hole that was created by that giant rock that fell above Demers, and then the road washed out and our whole driveway was gone, and they put the culvert where all that water was running, so the culvert was closer to our side of the road,
Oh,
and the metal culvert that was originally ours was in the front, it was totally packed. And the water was going around, so they put that culvert there so we could cross
Yeah.
the river that was in our driveway, and the culvert disappeared. And that's not right.
So I'm struggling because I don't remember that.
Well, it was a plastic, brand new,
Do you remember? what's
14-inch by 12-foot culvert that we had put. So it was smaller than the one we had, but it was enough for us to get out of the driveway. And then the next day, your crew, which I don't know who it was, if it was you or the few people that you had working, came. It was like the next day after we fixed it, and I'm like, ooh, we must have made somebody mad, because now they're down there ripping the road out and we didn't even know it was happening, but I work from home, so I'm like, it's like you don't know the town's crew's coming until you hear all this noise, and you're like, oh, what's going on? So then you walk down into your end of your driveway instead of your phone, because people don't have people's phone numbers, and I think that's probably another issue in the town for communication. If we had people's emails or phone numbers, then maybe communication might be better, but my last plea was to get that culvert back, because when I borrow something from somebody, it's gonna be in the same condition, if not better, when I return it, and I'm still owed that to the neighbors.
So that was a black plastic culvert.
Yeah,
It wouldn't have ended up in the garage with all the other junk culverts that.
we're not gonna want a
Yeah.
broken one back, though.
No, I don't think it
Yeah,
would
no,
be broken.
I honestly don't remember a second culvert in the driveway. But I was running around with my head cut off. There was other, there were people
Chaos.
helping us, and they were.
And we understood that, and that's why we were doing what we could to help
Yeah.
ourselves and the people up and down the road.
I thank you for coming in. I think that this is all something we're gonna have to talk about during the road commissioners. And I just want us to move on to the other parts of the meeting. And please don't think I'm cutting you off. We have this long agenda.
No, I
Yeah.
spoke longer than probably.
No,
normal,
well, you're
but,
the only one here, so you get
Did you
like
have
a
an
little
idea
extra. So,
what you're looking for reimbursement?
Bring another culvert back. Or, I think that's what would be the making
That's
whole,
what
is putting
Prescott
it back the
wants.
way. Huh?
Prescott wants a culvert.
He let us borrow that culvert, and that's what happens when you borrow something, you return it.
Yeah.
In the same condition, if not better. You wash things up, if I let them use my lawnmower, I don't expect it to come back with grass all over it. I would hope they would clean it off, or at least that's what I would do. I try to make things better than I find it, but.
Well, Sabina, we'll discuss all this and then you'll hear from me directly, okay?
Yeah.
I know I have your number
Sure.
written somewhere, but could I please get it again? Oh, right, of course. Here, you wanna? Sorry, you
I'm
wanna write
just
it?
joking, I'm just joking. Okay, so, and just for clarification, we probably were on vacation when you came.
Thank you.
I assume.
May 20th to the 28th, and there was no note on the door to say that you had been all those times, and I
Sure,
just,
definitely.
next time, even your card.
Left the card one time, it was like.
No, this one I got from you that day that we talked at the end of the road.
Well, okay, that's very possible, but I did leave one on the door also. I stuffed it in, like, inside the crease of the door. But, I mean, that to me is a moot point. I mean, we're here now, we gotta get beyond this.
Right, and that's
I mean,
why
I
I've
just
come
want
here to
you-
reach out my hand and just say
Yeah.
that, I didn't have any notification you were there, so thank you for your time.
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, Sabina.
Thank you.
Okay?
That's great. Let's go.
All right.
All right. Let's move on to the town clerk's report.
Okay, I have got, I don't know if you want to do this now, if you want to wait until you go over the town roof RFP. But we got a quote for the chimney, either capping it for $3,195.23 or taking it down to roof level for $4,640.
Wow. Capping it would cost that much? And cleaning out the bottom?
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about that when we talk about the RFP. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have got, you have probably heard about this, but those are Wobble's dogs that went to the neighbors and made a pest of themselves.
Sorry, who's dogs?
Warble, Alan Warble.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And here he is relieving himself in picture 1 and picture 2.
And
Sorry, I'll share.
request
I
came
didn't see
from.
this yet.
Okay. I'm just glad that they haven't been after the chickens or something.
And Saturday, Ed took an animal control officer's training. So now he is certified so he can write tickets. They will give him a badge, and we need to have this signed by Chris if everybody is in agreement with that, so he can get his tickets and his badge.
Can you read it?
Sure. Edward Dumas, Animal Control Officer for the town of Woodbury, recently completed animal control certification training this past weekend. As a result of the certification, the town is requesting a department number, badge number, officer's number, and tickets with corresponding envelopes for Mr. Dumas. If we want additional information, there's a phone number to call.
Tickets for, but
Animal.
we don't have a pet ordinance, right? So,
We have the existing one, we just
oh, we do
haven't
have one,
upgraded
right?
it. Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
What
So
would the word-
sounds good to me. I would say we should, I would move that we sign that. So that Ed can get what he needs to be official.
Right. Any discussion?
I'm conflicted. No discussion.
No discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. All those in favor of approving the chair signing this request that our animal control officer receives a department number, badge number, officer number, and tickets with corresponding envelopes for animal control work, please say aye.
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 Okay.
Kim tried that a few times when he was.
Thank you.
When he was
Thank you.
animal control officer and it,
And I understand these tickets will work the same way as the speeding tickets,
Okay.
where we'll get a portion of that money.
Okay.
but somebody has to go to court. So,
Has to go, did you say record it?
has to go to court,
Okay.
the municipal court, and you don't just send it in the mail and the court says, okay.
And the other thing I have is Christine Chamberlain started doing her research for the tax maps
Yeah,
today.
Great.
Oh, great.
Wait, oh, okay. I wanted to throw in something else, because Robin had a request a couple weeks ago for some, what did you call it? Public records. Public
Oh, yeah.
records
I remember
research.
seeing that, yeah.
Yeah, and it came through, I think the day that Robin was gone. You got a copy of it. You sent it to Pam, and Pam started doing this research, and I found out from the Secretary of State's office that that's not a public records request.
Okay.
Because anybody can walk in here and research the land records, and we're always told not to do the research for people, because if you miss something, it's, you're liable. So, I just wanted to
What does
make
constitute
people
a
know.
public records request?
Well, oh God, there's a lot.
There's a lot of
there's
things,
a lot of
but
stuff,
any
yeah.
land information is not.
Well, things that are, I mean, there are things in the vault that probably aren't really public, so there could be things that people need to see, like, vital records or things like that. But as far as the land records, which is what this person was asking for, they can come in or send a lawyer like everybody else.
Okay,
So,
good to know. Thanks for finding that out.
Okay, and then down in the basement, the further room,
Mm-hmm.
there is an old wooden bookcase down there. The big one on that back
the
wall.
white one, yeah.
Is that something that the town wants to keep? And then the other thing is the wooden door that was taken off between the two rooms.
Well, I thought maybe Alfie could use that for their new bathroom.
Okay.
For the door?
Okay. Right now, the door swings both ways, so.
It's kind of loose on its
And it
hinges.
doesn't go all the way to the floor.
Oh.
Sort
Oh,
of,
it's one of
sort of
those.
like the men's room and the.
So that white bookcase, yeah, has been around for a long time. There used to be a dispute over who really owned it, but you know,
I have no
if
opinion
it's
about either of
if
those
it's
things.
not useful, I guess we don't have to keep it. But if it is useful, why not leave it where it is? I don't know.
Why is the question coming up? Is there?
Because we were cleaning out that back room.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what are you thinking? Or would you like to get rid of it and have the space, or do you not really care?
It's not really a lack of space down there. There's
Right.
plenty of room for
Right.
stuff. I mean,
I'm willing to leave it up to Robin.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. You take care of it, whatever you want to do.
Door. So, there. Did we put a new door? I can't remember. Between the finished space.
Yes,
with the
there's a new
facade?
door there.
Oh, okay. So.
That matches the one at the foot of the stairs.
Gotcha.
Which the one at the foot of the stairs needs to be
getting
taken out
replaced.
and the fire one put in.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
now that would probably be a better one for your bathroom
You can have the door and the bookcase.
because it's a new
It is a brand new.
fiberglass door.
Yeah. If it works, I'm happy to use it.
Yeah.
If I can get it in the space that's there.
But they had to cut some of it off because of the height of the floor down there, so your feet still might show when you're in the bathroom.
Well,
That way you'll know if
That's kind of
someone's
the ventilation.
right now, it's like 1.5 feet, so if you wanted to really look underneath, you could.
No, that's
I
okay.
don't think anybody wants to look.
Thank you, Robin. All right. Lily, I think we're on the treasurer's report,
Great.
which I think.
Perfect.
Hey, Liz, you might-
Robin, do you have one?
You have one.
Thank you.
I have them?
Yeah. There's your name on the top of it.
Maybe I put it under here. I did, yep, there it is.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So overall, our income over the past 2 weeks.
No, it'll be this one.
We've got our cash receipts total as $1,984.66, with the majority of that being delinquent tax for $1,144. Expenses, payroll for the past 2 weeks has been $9,060, and accounts payable is $20,899.84. We had two transfers from the MMA to checking. From checking to MMA. My apologies. Of $86,000. We received funds for the oh goodness, the heat really is getting to me today. Goodness gracious. For the 2024 FEMA repayment for
Excellent. I read that they might not have that to us until after July 1st.
You did read that.
Yeah.
Surprise.
But it came in, so
It did.
good. That'll help with the end of the year
Yes.
deficit or not deficit.
Also, on top of that, we got notification that we're going to get $18,000 back from our education tax payment. As well as I just got a notification about $4,030 we're going to receive back from overpayment for current use. I believe that's correct. That's the letter you gave me today.
That's for people taking,
Taking land out?
Yes. Yep. So both of those things will benefit us going into the end of the year. Following up from last week in regards to the 75K, I discussed it again with Brandy, and she had mentioned that there was a discussion in which there was an increase of $25,000 before we set the tax rate for the highway fund, because we are getting this funding back for the education overpayment. I felt comfortable with, giving that $25,000 back to the highway. So in easy terms, of the 75 that I transferred over last week, I transferred $25,000 back. based on some minutes and some discussion with Brandy about what you guys had discussed during the setting of the tax
Okay.
rate.
So essentially, that is 50,000 that we would have.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yep. What was that?
Does that go into the equipment fund or just
It was for culverts.
culverts?
Which we are fairly under for in our budget this year.
We probably will be much under because we've got that FEMA money paying for several of the big culverts, so.
Yeah, well, I'm about to order some more.
Mm-hmm.
I should have before now, but it's just been
But
busy.
that extra $25,000, that was for like FY '26, which probably by the end of, this month, it'll be FY '26 and you'll get your culverts.
I think the 25,000 was for FY25 for this year. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
You're right, because that's when we were setting the tax rate.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Yep. The next thing that I'd like to discuss, I have my vacation coming up at not the end of this week, but the end of next week. I'll be gone for 2 weeks. Brandon will be taking over for me to do payroll and accounts payable while I'm gone. That being said, at the end of July is historically when we set the tax rate. Historically, we've done it in a special meeting, so I just want to give a heads up to you guys that I will be asking for a special meeting at the end of July to discuss the tax rate and what we can do about it moving forward.
Okay.
Also, from the listers, I got a letter requesting raises for them that they asked me to give to the three of you. Thank you.
I have nothing to do with that.
Oh, wait.
Not chilly anymore.
It's only gonna get worse as the summer goes on.
All right. Do we want to put this on the agenda for next meeting?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we do that? Thank you, Lily, for bringing that.
And only other thing to notify you guys about, when I return, I'll be giving a full breakdown of our last fiscal year, where our money went, how we are feeling financially, and moving forward into FY26. Sorry to say this, but we'll be editing the reports that we're giving you to kind of reflect how we're doing month to month. So these conversations can be really focused on, making financial decisions for the town before anything drastic happens or before our RV technology price gets too high.
And so these will look the same, but we're gonna have like a narrative.
They'll look a little different,
Okay.
like I said, kind of month to month, and then I'll be focusing on different item lines, really dissecting where we're spending our money each month. I think on top of that, that's going to look more like a monthly report instead of a bi-weekly report, kind of getting a month snapshot, and then also kind of building out a schedule of when we receive money, to kind of show you guys the influx and flow of money. Getting a lot of money October, November. We usually end up getting some education over payment back in June. Just kind of having a cash flow map for the year is what I'm going to focus
That would
on.
be super helpful.
So this Highway Corporate Reserve Fund, we have 141,000 now. And at the beginning of the fiscal year, will there be another chunk put in there?
I believe so. I believe that is what we voted on.
90, right? That was voted on.
I believe so.
So we'll talk about that later.
I didn't do it.
You didn't buy, you didn't buy the truck yet? Okay.
That will be
That's a no,
planning.
That's in the planning, yeah.
Okay, alright,
That's
great.
in the planning.
And now that we're talking, we should probably get together and discuss what kind of, talking about this cash flow map that I want to create. Talk about what that looks like for the highway as well.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
Great.
that'd be great.
yeah.
Thanks. Anything else? Questions?
No questions, just thank you.
And then really when if it becomes a monthly, that kind of snapshot of our spending, where it's been and where it's going, would there be a narrative with that? I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
we can, yeah.
That would be
yeah,
helpful for me
Yeah.
rather than looking at a spreadsheet but maybe being able to focus on things that you are suggesting. Yeah, that you're saying, and then
Yeah.
I do my best to listen, but I'm not a great listener. So, or hearing, I don't process things very well.
Yeah, you need to
auditorily.
read
I
it.
need to read it.
Yep,
So
yep.
that'd
Draft
be
work for
helpful.
you as well, and like pie charts, that's what I was
Yeah.
out of my head.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Sounds great. All right.
It's right up your alley, Skip.
Thank you.
Excited.
Lily, unless you have anything else, we'll go on to the road commissioners report.
Go ahead.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
Sure. So I want to keep this short, as everybody else does, I'm sure, but wanted to report what we've been doing. We did rent the new excavator. And of the 7 projects that we put together, 2 of them are done,
Oh,
done, so we don't have
Nice.
to look at them anymore.
Which ones are those?
The one is the Buck Lake on Cabot Road.
Yep.
The brook, we cleared out all the debris and stone lined it to follow the states, what they did.
Yep.
So that's all done, went very well. And then the other one we did was the culvert on the county road, the wetland pond. Didn't require a permit. It was, the bottom of the culvert was completely rotted out. So that happened last Thursday.
And they got replaced with a bigger culvert?
Yes.
Presumably?
Yeah, it was an 18 and we put a 2-foot plastic smooth bore, so nothing will catch up in it.
And that was a site that previously was a problem site?
No, actually it wasn't, but it's not gonna ever be a problem again.
Okay.
Either, so it's kind of was approved by the mitigation team,
Yep.
and so that's why we did it. I'm trying to do the easier ones first.
Yep.
Some of the projects on the list are waiting,
H&H and...
H&H and
Yep.
permitting and all of that, so trying to get the ones done that I can do without that.
so there should be like 3 more that you can do before you,
Yes, there's
2 that are.
the Blake Hill Road near Route 14. That needs a permit, so that one cannot be done. The other one on Blake Hill near Gilbert Road can be done. And then, yeah, so we're kind of narrowing it down as far as how many more we can do. The trailhead on the county road cannot be done, that needs permitting. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for this, well, let me back up. I did get a hold of Nate, and he is on board for around 1st of July. So he's gonna get with me and I'll go and show him and get him started on that. No idea how long it's gonna take. Hopefully he can, spit them out pretty quick.
But he can do the H&H study too?
He can do the H&H as well as the engineering.
So the Blake Hill Road at Vermont 14
That's on the south end of Blake Hill Road.
is a perennial stream, but I don't see a note here that it needs a H&H or a design. It says a selected replacement should be a minimum of 8 feet in width and meet the applicable hydraulic capacity for the roadway classification.
Right, which means it needs an engineer.
Okay, so there are 3 that need engineers then. The Diego site and the County Road Trailhead
Yeah.
and that one.
And that
Okay.
one. So there's one more that is on Blake Hill near Gilbert Road intersection. That is now a stone culvert. And it's all like closed in, you can't see daylight, it's all, the stones are wiggly. I don't know how that did not become a problem during the floods, but I chose that one because I'm just amazed that it didn't cause a problem for us, and I'd like to alleviate the chance of that happening.
That's one requires a permit or no? No.
He said that does not require a permit,
Great.
because it's not big enough. Usually the bag full width needs to be 3 feet or more, and he didn't think that met that criteria.
Okay.
And the bag full width is where the water washes when it's high. You can tell by looking at it, and he measures across it.
Got it.
So I think we're clear to do that one. The other project that is haunting me a little bit is the grant project on King Pond Road. It's not haunting me, but it's another one on the list. So I thought that I would try to fit that one in while I'm waiting for engineering.
Great.
And that would be handy to have the big excavator for also. With the bigger excavator, it's just so much faster to dig the road up or culverts in.
Where is that one on King Pond?
It starts at David Sawyer's
Yeah.
and it goes up to the top by Don
Gallison?
Gallison's.
Yeah.
It's that stretch. It's all a steep hill and it
Yeah.
washes every time.
Yep.
So, we had the Regional Planning Commission come and they looked and they told us what to do. It's stone line ditching and replacing a couple of culverts, adding one. It's all spelled out, so it's in the grant and it's all approved, so we can do that.
Super.
Yeah. So, no shortage of work to do, that's for sure. And like I said, I'm just trying to knock off the smaller ones to get through the list and try to use up that money, which I'm keeping track of. I turned a couple of the FEMA time cards in today that keeps track of that.
The invoice for the rental of the large excavator.
Yes, that's yet to come, but it will, and we will label it. And you're gonna get me code for,
Yep.
right, the code for the mitigation money,
Yep.
so that we can keep that straight.
Yep.
At some point, I wanna put that culvert that we just had a large conversation about behind us.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
whatever you guys decide, I'm willing and happy to do it.
Do we want to figure that out right
We
now?
might as well just talk about it now, yeah.
Okay. I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think that if they want to upgrade, they definitely, I don't think we should split that with them, that extra cost, because it would set a bad precedent for future requests. So I think we should stick with either replacing with the black plastic one that we talked about that they agreed to, or if they want a bigger culvert, they have to pay the full cost.
What we don't seem to have is the difference between what we already agreed to and any upgraded amount. Like, if the one culvert costs $500, a slightly bigger one costs.
$750.
Yeah, right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have it with me, but I do have the prices between gray, which is the more expensive type of pipe for 15-inch and 18-inch. 18-inch is what I was recommending to put in. That's the $600.
Yeah.
I think it's like $100 less for the 15-inch.
Oh.
However, if you go with black, it's even less than that, because it's a less of quality pipe. Let's just say it's not as sturdy. But in a driveway culvert, it's more than sufficient. A lot of them have those black plastic. So that would be the cheapest way to go for the town to install that 15-inch black. But then there's also the issue of her claiming that we took one of her culverts.
Right, let's talk about that separately now.
Separate.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it's up to the board. I think what you're suggesting, Diane, is if it costs us, the town, $300 for the 15-inch black, and it's $600 for the 18-inch gray, is it worth having them pay the difference? We're gonna spend it anyways. So for an extra $300, they could get a bigger culvert, which presumably might help our road. I don't know.
Is that
Down the
correct? $300 difference between the 15-inch black and 18-inch black?
18-inch gray.
Yes, roughly.
But-
I don't have an exact price for the black 15-inch, because I never buy it. It's just, it's not allowed.
Oh.
It doesn't meet the standard for the municipal,
The roads.
But you can get it
roads,
for
right?
a
It has to be an
driveway.
18-inch to fit the
Okay.
roads. So I don't buy a 15-inch
right.
unless it's a rare occasion like this. So, but I'm guessing it's probably, the difference may be around $300.
But that's the difference between plastic and metal?
No.
Or
No, I did not
Plastic.
price
just the,
metal.
okay,
I didn't
okay.
price metal at all.
Okay, so when you say gray, what do you mean gray?
Gray is still plastic, it's just a heavier duty and it's double walled,
Oh,
so it's stronger, it lasts longer,
Okay.
and, it holds the weight better.
could we just put a list of these different options to give her? 15-inch black, 18-inch black, 15-inch gray, 18-inch gray.
I can, I've gotten a quote for both gray, 15 and 18.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that's what I was trying to get to her,
Oh, okay.
but I couldn't get, they were gone, apparently they were
Okay.
gone.
So I have a thought that maybe we've offered them an option that they're good with. They did accept it initially, and now they're kind of going back to wanting to discuss other
Right,
options.
well, the pictures of the damaged culvert that they
Right.
say we did, and maybe we did, when a culvert is full of water and not flowing through, it's all murky water, you cannot see, the excavator's just kind of feeling, stabbing around, and it happens, so.
Sure. I don't think anybody's.
There's a strong possibility that we did damage their culvert during that, trying to help them.
Right, so where I was going with that is we have offered to make it good. In my mind, us giving them the culvert that they accepted is good. It makes it square. I'm kind of wondering how much of your time should be spent researching other options, and maybe that should be on them. Like, let them have a certain amount of time to figure out, they can make some calls, figure out if they'd like something else. They can make the arrangements if they want something else. But there's going to be a time frame because you've got to be able to do it with the excavator. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I feel like maybe if they're looking for an upgrade, the legwork would be better for them. They could get explanations directly from the suppliers. It might just be better.
Yeah, I just think that the price that Alfie's gonna get on that 18-inch gray is gonna be way different than some homeowner calling.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That would be that'd be
I think in the best interest of the town in saving money and putting this behind us, we just give them a black 15-inch culvert and we close this case.
I'm good with that.
It's reasonable
Remember what we
price.
agreed to last
It
time?
will
It is-
last, it will
yeah.
last for as long as they need it to.
Uh-huh.
okay.
And with the work we've done up above, we shouldn't have, well, I don't wanna speak too loud about the floods, but the work we've done up above shouldn't have this, we shouldn't have this problem again. It was very odd that culvert froze. It just was very strange that a 3-foot culvert would back up ice and freeze until it floods.
Do they want their metal culvert back?
I'm sure they're gonna want that back.
Maybe they would, maybe that would satisfy their neighbor.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, because Wayne's was a new culvert.
What?
Wayne's was a new culvert.
Oh, really? No.
So I guess if that's what the board decides, I would, yeah, I think that's fine.
I'm good with that. Do we need to vote on that?
I don't think we need to.
We already did.
That's true.
I do, so we'll replace their culvert with a 15-inch black culvert. And now we need to talk about this other culvert that, and Liz, you sound like you have some information about it. It sounds like maybe there was a volunteer helping the town.
Yeah.
And that culvert was crushed by this volunteer. The loaner culvert was crushed by a volunteer, but it sounds like maybe it got picked up by one of our road crew, the crushed one, and taken.
And discarded, I guess.
Discarded.
Would it
Does
have
that
been
sound-
crushed during the replacement of it? During the time that it was taken out? I can't imagine how the plastic
Well,
would get
it's,
crushed.
again, it was the black plastic,
Yeah,
which is very weak.
so, okay.
So when an
So it could've
excavator,
broken.
they put it in, I believe, temporary.
Yeah.
It was a small
Right.
diameter culvert, and they just
Yeah.
put it in, put gravel over it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, not to knock anybody's ability,
Mm-hmm.
but an inexperienced operator could probably catch it with an excavator
Okay.
and rip it in half
Okay.
very easily.
Please, okay.
If you don't
Thank
dig
you.
all the dirt
Mhm.
off of it, off the top of it, then they break very easily. So I'm gonna assume, I don't remember any of this. My mind was totally full at
She
the
said
time.
that, I think she said that that was not even the one closest to the roadside.
Right.
That can't be right. 'Cause why would the town be involved in anything beyond the one by the roadside?
Well, it was
I don't know.
one, their original culvert was still in the ground.
Yeah,
It had just washed out over the top of the road,
Oh.
or top of their driveway. They put in a temporary culvert in so that they could get to and fro, apparently, the way I understand
all
it.
right.
So can I ask a question? Was the person who volunteered working for the town and reimbursed by the town?
Yeah.
For the work
He
of
was he donated his time.
Really?
and so, but it was
That's nice.
so it was a personal culvert for personal, like, it wasn't, the culvert was never owned by the town, it was owned by Mr. Prentice, is that the right name?
Prescott?
Prescott.
Mr. Prescott, and loaned to the Perrys for their driveway. And then this person came along, helped them fix their driveway.
To get their original culvert flowing.
Yeah, and crushed that loaner. And then, so it doesn't sound like the town ever damaged that culvert. Am I right?
I mean, that's kind of, I'm sort of thinking that, I don't know how it all went down. I know it was
Nor do
utter
I.
chaos, but it seems to me that if, everybody came out to help, which is awesome, but if damage occurred when a volunteer who doesn't work for the town was helping a neighbor, which was really a kind thing to do, I don't know that the town should bear responsibility for that one.
Well, how could we have had people volunteering and using town equipment?
Was,
That sounds
They weren't
dangerous.
using town
Or was
equipment.
What?
They weren't using town
Well, they
equipment.
weren't.
Yes, no, it was.
Oh, they were?
It was
Sorry,
town-
okay.
oh,
All
that
right.
actually,
They
that
being-
might change.
All right, that
my-
changes things.
That might change my
It was
mind.
it was the town equipment, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jim Smith did the volunteering, some volunteering.
Got it.
Okay.
But he was using his own tractor.
Yeah,
That's what the gal said tonight. She
yeah,
referenced Jim Smith.
yeah.
Yeah.
The culvert that got smashed was using the town equipment with a volunteer,
Got it.
Okay.
non-employee.
Okay.
That changes things
Yeah.
for me.
In the heat of the moment when the flood was happening, this person stopped by and said, "Hey, how can I help? I would love to help.
Yeah.
I'll give you the day." And so
Yeah.
I took him up on it.
Yeah, that's good, but in the future, try to get him on the payroll so he would be covered by our liability and stuff like
natural
that.
disaster.
I know.
So what are we talking for a 14-inch, 12-foot culvert?
Well, you can only buy them in 20-foot lengths.
Okay, so 20-foot,
So you're
14-inch
looking
culvert.
at another $300.
kind of feel like we should do it.
Let's just get this over with and give Mr. Prescott his culvert back. It was town equipment that damaged it.
Right, to me, that makes all the difference
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah,
So the town equipment was working on their driveway, not just where the driveway meets the road.
Well, the driveway meets the road. I mean, it was in the town right away. Their
okay.
culvert is in the town right away.
Yeah, okay, but I thought
Hands
they were
down.
talking about another culvert further up.
Further up, no,
Okay,
it was
all
right
right.
at the edge of the road. Yeah. And it was water that indeed came down the
Yeah.
side of the road and washed both of those culverts out. You know, and
I say we
so,
just put this behind us, and that's my opinion, for $300.
$600 really,
Total.
Yeah.
right? But
And that one just, was that another 15-inch black? Sorry.
15-inch black. That's
So
what she's
it'll be
planning
two.
in her letter.
It'll be two when all said and
two.
done. Okay. Yep.
And it might be less than that. I've not quoted black plastic because I don't buy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might be less, I'm just guessing 300, it might be, they might be cheaper than that.
Okay.
So the one that they would go in their driveway, I mean, yeah, the one that would replace their main culvert would be 20 feet long? 20 feet?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
when that works. Okay,
yeah, that'll be plenty long.
you couldn't like
So
cut
the
them in
other,
half or something.
the other issue is what do you do with the steel culvert that's in there?
Yeah, they definitely should keep
They
that.
can decide whether they want it.
I'll try to communicate that with them.
Or leave it on the side of the road.
Well, yeah, I
Like,
mean, if you do that and then somebody else driving by steals it and then they're gonna say, oh, well, where's my culvert?
Oh, geez, we
So
can't.
I will communicate that with them to make sure. And if they want it up near their house, that's where I'll put it. But
Otherwise,
otherwise, we'll take it and maybe we can put it in somebody else's driveway down the road.
Yeah.
Because it's 15 inch, it's just not big enough
Yeah.
for our road crossings.
okay. I think, is everybody in agreement? I don't think we need to vote on that. I think we just need to let Alfie
Just
know.
make it happen.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for, like you said, let's get this.
Yeah.
It just
it's
makes-
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
It makes it a little more important that we come to some kind of a policy agreement, because all this back and forth and people thinking, oh, you replaced somebody else's culvert.
Yeah, no,
Knew that would
agree.
happen.
I agree. I mean, we kind of agreed on
Yeah,
a certain circumstance
Right.
that the person would buy the culvert,
Right.
we would install it.
yeah,
But I think we need to firm that up. a little
right.
bit.
I think just for the,
Actual
and
policy.
it- for the record, and it's on tape, is that, to be clear, it was the town that damaged both, town equipment that damaged both culverts, which is in this case why, I don't know how you can say
I don't
that.
really agree that it damaged those little dings on the end of the culvert, I don't really.
The existing culvert could be fixed.
Yeah.
Could be fixed if it was, you know, with more time and energy,
Yeah.
you could probably flush it out.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's best to just.
Yeah, let's just,
Yeah.
let's get it done.
Let's get them happy somehow.
So there was a part of the public comment. There was an offer put out also. I don't know if we want to.
Oh, yeah.
Do we want to talk about that in an executive session at some point, or
We
do
have
we,
a-
I
like,
think we can talk about that during our Woodbury work, just
Okay.
because it's not really part of
Yeah.
the road commissioner's
Yeah.
report.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah, the meeting, what I think Liz is talking to is Sabina, right?
Yeah.
Her offer to volunteer. We can talk about that.
Yeah, it's great. Anybody
Yeah.
that wants to volunteer some.
Didn't we have a plan at one time for you and somebody else to get together and put together a newsletter or something?
Me?
Yeah, you and Michael were gonna work on something like,
I'm glad
all
I
your
forgot about
spare
that. I forgot all about that already.
What is that?
That's a stone that was left at the entrance of somebody's driveway. That's how big it is compared to that foot.
Recently or during?
The last time Cabot Road was graded,
you know, that was part of the gravel that was.
All right, so
Is this person complaining? What?
yeah, because they said it could have damaged their car when they came out of their driveway.
Did it?
can you have them call Alfie? Okay, that's up.
Yeah, I
That
need
sounds
to
great.
know this. I need to, you know, when something like that comes in, I need to know so I can get to the
Well, I
bottom.
just got that tonight,
Oh, you did?
so you just got it tonight.
Right.
So we graded Cabot Road last week sometime.
Yeah. And the other thing that people have been coming in asking about is when they're grading, how come the person that's sitting in the dump truck doesn't get out and move this type of stone out of the way?
When they're grading, they bring a dump truck?
No, the grader's out by himself.
Yeah.
Unless, like, after we're grading, we're running the dump truck for chloride. That possibly could happen. In the spring of the year, the first grading, we rake them.
Yeah.
All the roads get raked. But we just don't have the manpower to rake every road every time we grade. Right now, there's, there's hauling gravel, there's all this other stuff that needs to happen while the grader's working. So, that's a bummer. I'm happy to talk to them and whatever, apologize if I have to.
Okay.
But we have dirt roads. We are driving on dirt roads, we are maintaining dirt roads. You're gonna see stones like that. We put a lot of stones like that last year, the last 2 years, alongside of the road to fill in washouts. This is gonna happen. This is gonna continue to happen.
Can you
It's just.
email
it's
that to
just-
him, so? Email
Yeah, I
that?
can send that to him.
Otherwise,
I mean,
he
it's-
should get it officially rather than just hand it to him.
Yeah, email it to me and give me the people's contact and I'll be happy to talk to them.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you get out of here if you wanna get out of here.
I'd like that.
All right.
Oh,
You go do it. I think that, thanks for coming.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything for me?
What, should I?
No.
Okay, then I don't. But
Okay.
if you could, as soon as you finish one of those projects, if you could let me know.
Okay, I
So I
got
can
2 of
cross
them
it
done.
out.
2 of them are
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I noticed the stream
Yeah,
in the village is.
yeah, that went really well.
Yeah.
I've got a folder for each job, so I'm
Oh,
putting
perfect.
all the
Do you have snappies?
time card, snappies, no. But I can.
Pictures,
Oh,
snappies.
I can do that, but I'm keeping track of the invoices.
Yep, perfect.
And as soon as I guess I have to label them as each job too, not just the code,
yep.
right? So yeah, that's
Perfect.
part of the FEMA thing that we have to do. So it takes a little extra time at the end of the day, and while it's fresh in the guys' minds, how many loads they did and whatnot, so. But there's only 7 of them, so, and then we're done.
Maybe.
2 down, 5 to go, is it?
Yeah. So, yeah, if there's any other questions.
I think so.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Good night.
All right, you too. So I think, Skip, I don't know whether you saw that email, but I just left that on there in the event that he had a solution for some of the computers that have not been able to be configured yet.
Okay.
But I never heard back from him, so we'll
Yeah.
just kind of keep that on there until it would be good for us to get our town
Right.
emails.
Yeah.
Yours is
I
working.
checked mine today. So far, I've only gotten one email from Diana that was a test.
Testing.
I checked it just to.
I'm still
See.
emailing your other one.
Nobody's.
I'm using my other one too.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for us to start using them all at the same time once it's solved.
Yeah, Skip was gonna come out to my office, but we'd have to coordinate that. I mean, cause there is cell service there. And I'd have to make sure that I bring my laptop, and it just hasn't been a huge priority. He's busy.
So, I think getting on to this portion of the meeting where we can do some work, and some of it might be with Skip and going over the RFP for the roof, which honestly I have not had a chance to read. I was hoping I would get a chance to look at it again tonight.
I was kind of hoping the same, Skip. I glanced at it. I'm sorry. I know you wanted us to have it ready, but I just couldn't.
Okay, well,
We could, but we have this time to decide to do that.
yeah, sure. Robin, can I make copies of this?
Sure. I
I've
can
got
do
it
for
right
you.
here too.
How many do you want?
I would love a copy.
I'd take one.
I'd like a copy too.
Thanks, Robin.
So then the other things that I wanted to get your feedback on was this. I reached out, or I think actually Callis, the select board had reached out first, asking if there would be interest in a meeting, and it sounds like they would like to initially just have like a meeting. That was not necessarily have to be warned, but just to talk about possible ways, and we could bring that back to our respective boards And then if it seems like there was interest, that we could then have a warned meeting with the two boards together or with the town administrators.
So you're talking about like the chair and the chair meeting?
I'm happy to do it,
Or-
unless you want to do it.
Really? But I will if I you know.
Yeah, no, I
I
know.
would.
I'll do it. So I've already been in touch with him. So
Okay, thank you.
if that's if you would like me to do that, I'm happy to do that.
If they want us to come to a meeting and they wanna have you come to a meeting, that's whatever. I mean, we're not gonna arrange a meeting.
Yeah.
So they need to take the incentive to set it up and then invite us.
I think that already is, and this what I'm suggesting
Oh, I
is
didn't
that
see
I would
anything
go
like
to
that.
I would go to meet with either their select board or with their town administrator, come up with some ideas about the ways that we could collaborate and bring them back. And I'm happy to do that, but I'm not going to do it without your blessing.
I think it's a good
Okay.
thing if you're willing to do it.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I forwarded both of you, and I did it just before the meeting, but there's a request from Lucas Gold, LWAP. I think actually this came it came to the town clerk first, and she forwarded it on to us, but I'll just read it to you. This gentleman's name is Lucas Goldfuss, and he's the conservation specialist with the Winooski Natural Resources Conservation District. He's copying Dan Kunneman as well, who is the district manager. He said our district has been selected by the state of Vermont to conduct a lake watershed action plan in the Sabin Pond watershed. The watershed includes Woodbury Lake, Greenwood Lake, and Valley Lake. The Lake Watershed Action Plan encompasses roads, wetlands, streams, and lakefront property assessments. The goal of the action plan is to identify problem areas within the lake's watershed that could contribute to poor water quality. As part of the process, we want to include the relevant partners as part of the team conducting the study. Are you willing to have us present to the select board and engage in roundtable discussion about the study? Basically, I think we just means questions and answers.
Michael should be involved in that. 'Cause
Yeah.
He was the one that was following up on, well, of course, that was when he was on the select board, I guess, but
So he
when
said,
they were trying to make us compliant with the stormwater runoff at the state level.
I basically said that I would bring it up and I'd get back to him. So should we invite him to this?
Is that what they want?
That's what they want.
That's what they're asking. Okay, sure.
All right. I'll respond to that and ask for that. Some of these things are still on there in case we have email correspondence, phone calls from community members. I guess the scope of work and cost estimating Woodbury town office improvements is kind of on the, with Skip, that roof piece as part of the work for today. And then we'll still keep it on there. We need a policy for town official emails.
I don't understand that.
Okay.
Maybe we want to wait and let me understand it when it comes up.
No, I think it's work. I think if we're gonna have town emails, like we're not gonna be on the board forever. So there probably should be a policy that says that when someone is elected, that they would receive an official town email that they would be required to use for town business and not personal emails.
Require.
That was what Skip Marcassani, somebody else was suggesting, John Reed
Yeah.
was suggesting, because the stuff needs to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Archive.
I think that makes sense. I mean, we've spent the money to do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I think we should see it through. So yes.
So I think it could be a very simple policy, but that, it just says that that's what has to happen.
Should it also include things like don't use your town email for non-town business?
Yeah. I mean, really.
I mean, we can't control that, but I think it can be in the policy.
There's something in the personnel policy already that says you can't use any town computers for personal use. I mean, God, that's like from 20 years ago.
But I still-
Nowadays, if somebody wants to, if she wants to email her husband during the day or something, that should be allowed.
Right,
Me,
it's a little,
I emailed him.
it's a little different though.
What?
I think it's a little different. Like, I'm not saying for a specific piece of equipment, but just, it seems like if the town is paying for us to have these emails, we shouldn't be cluttering them with other communications, because if there is ever an investigation, like, kind of the point of it is to make it, here is our town email, make it clear, cut and dry.
I would agree. I do think that, I think that we need to flesh out a policy though, and this is
Yeah.
just for the list of work that I'm hoping that we can do at these meetings, so that we don't have to do it today, okay?
Right.
Yeah, and the same thing, and I'm just gonna keep this list on the agenda so
Okay.
that if we ever have a meeting where we have time, we
You
can,
want to staple?
we can dig into this. Same thing for the parking policy.
Okay.
Good.
I think we need a parking policy on town properties. It doesn't matter, I don't care if we don't have a parking policy. I just think we cannot tow anybody out of the parking lot if we don't have a parking policy.
Agreed.
Okay, to bring that up, I had a lady that's gonna camp on Nelson Pond that's gonna have an end of the year party for her fellow teachers. And she emailed me to see if it would be okay if she parked out here tomorrow afternoon. I said, yep, just keep it down towards the church end because tomorrow evening we have hours.
Yeah.
She said, not a problem.
I think that kind of
It's
situation.
just one person?
No, she said there might be 4 or 5 cars.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And then we still have the domestic pet nuisance control ordinance that we need to update. It's on the list.
So
these
all
are the
ready to
things.
go, but
Um,
we just needed a few more steps.
And the other things that, I wrote down that we added it after John's here, is the buyout work, which is simply, I think, if we want to do this. In fact, I would like to do this today.
Right.
Um,
Oh, sign it, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think we
Oh,
need
definitely.
to go through and do that, and I think this is a perfect time to do that
Yeah.
work. And we can talk about Sabina's offer to volunteer, or we can just table that to the
Yeah,
next
forget
one.
that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I'm gonna dig into this and to Skip's RFP, yeah.
Didn't we decide right at the beginning that mandatory site inspection was gonna not be necessary? But it's
No, I think
still
they
in
have
there.
to, you mean in this, I think they have to come look at it.
Well,
They can't bid on it without, we don't still have to be there. There needs to be a,
So
right, we
this one
talked
is-
about, they definitely should look at it before they make a bid, but should it be a time when everybody has to be there, when these contractors are working in the middle of the day? Are they gonna wanna drop everything and come to Woodbury just to?
Right, I think we're gonna be lucky if we find somebody to do the job at all,
That's
so
what
I
I
think we
mean.
should make
That's
it
what I
easy.
mean. So-
So I can put something in that indicates that they should visit the sites before they bid and not have it mandatory.
I think that's in there elsewhere.
It is.
Too, okay. Let us start.
So I accepted all your changes in terms of, the general conditions, all those individual items you wanted stricken from the document, they're gone.
great.
And mostly the changes are to the specifications, which is type of material and things like that.
Where are those?
Where are those? If you go through, and this has to be repaginated and things like that, so it's, it is, back of the document, it says materials, specifications, and scope of work.
Okay.
Do you know what page? At the very
Well,
end.
5 in the back.
Page 5.
On the back.
But it all has to be repaginated and things like that. Got a little messy.
Metal roofing, this is for Minimum specifications and requirements for standing seam roof replacement.
Right, so we're not doing standing seam. We're doing screw down metal.
I don't know if FEMA's gonna like that.
Well, they don't have
I
any,
think the historic society is requiring us to replace it with something that is basically the same product that's on there now.
Not this building.
Oh
Right.
my god, are we talking? Wait, are we
This is
talking
for-
about?
This is for both buildings.
both buildings, right.
Oh,
So
okay.
for this building, FEMA would recommend standing seam.
So this RFP is for, we're looking for one contractor to do both roofs?
Yeah,
I guess I missed that. Okay, I thought this was for the town hall.
And-
Sorry.
I didn't.
But there
I
should
did-
be-
I did read the report about the screw
Right.
on.
Yep,
thinking, that's not part of the original building. It was never,
that's not part of what?
Right.
the original town hall was never a screwed on.
Right, I'm sure it had wood shingles at one point, but we were
Right.
told that in order to qualify to maintain the requirements for the federal historic preservation, that we need to replace the metal roof with what's there.
Well, I'll give her a call and explain to her that this is a FEMA project, and perhaps she could lead me to the appropriate person in the state that would give us the
Wow.
okay to do a standing seam.
The roof color is to be black.
Chris,
That was one of my
I
questions.
just learned something that I didn't understand at all about this, and I'm just curious if you did. I wasn't aware this document was also to include this roof. I thought it was just for the town hall roof.
No, I think it's both.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's, okay, I'm the
Yeah.
only one, sorry.
Yeah.
20% seam panel.
So, one of my questions is, I put down the color should be black. Doesn't have to be black.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's
Why would you want black?
White building, black roof.
Green? Or metal?
So this town,
Who
this,
was that
this
guy?
office is not on the
No.
historical registry.
But
right? Yeah.
black, yeah, black roof.
I'm a big
For one
black
thing,
roof fan.
Me too.
takes more heat.
Mm-hmm, it's true.
It won't reflect any heat.
What's on there now?
I know.
Shingles?
Up here,
Yeah.
it's just some tin roof.
Metal.
Scrubs. Nailed down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because didn't somebody paint it not too long ago?
Yeah, what's his name? King. Mike King.
Mike King.
Yeah. We had a hard enough time finding somebody to paint it, but now it's gonna be replaced even though it doesn't need to be, but oh
So
no.
Skip, for the sake of this document, are we assuming that we can convince the Historical Society to also let us put a standing seam roof?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
talk to the woman whose contact information that
Okay.
Anna gave me, and I'll find someone.
We definitely don't want a black roof on the town hall.
I want
Oh my
a purple
God,
one.
no.
Well, you just gotta
Yeah.
let your wishes be known.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I'm surprised I noticed that because I would have had no idea.
I like black, but if they're both just already just like whatever galvanized color, should we just go with that?
Roof finishes to be Kymar.
Yeah, that's industry specifications, so I did some digging, and these are industry specs for standing seam roofs. You don't want them to flake, you don't want them to fade, you don't want them to chip, you don't want them to peel, so that Kynar 500, that is the industry standard for a roof that will.
How about the soffit work on the town hall that was always part of the roof project?
It'll continue to be, because if you go further, it's going to say replace damaged or compromised decking with new materials. Contractor will examine roof trim and eaves for deterioration. Any deteriorated boards replaced with matching dimensions and profile of the original boards. New wood should be primed both sides.
Do we know what the UL 850 Class 90 wind uplift rating means?
Yes, it'll withstand hurricane force 90 mile-an-hour winds. With the shingles, you know, the shingles that was in the original RFP, they would withstand 116 mile-an-hour winds. This will do 90.
But that's not something that we put in, that was something that came in a standard RFP that you got somewhere, right?
No,
Shingles.
that was information from FEMA.
Yeah.
FEMA recommends shingles should be nailed to withstand 116 mile-an-hour winds. Where this should be
If you
screwed
want
down.
shingles, yeah.
If you wanted shingles. This should be screwed down so withstand a 90 mile-an-hour wind.
So the SNAP system, that qualifies for?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, all this qualifies for FEMA.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
And then Skip, where in that scope of work can you tell, were you saying that the information about the soffit was also?
Fascia boards and stuff like that.
Yeah,
If you
where is
go on,
that?
next page, you go, turn the page over, item number G is contractor will install new pipe food, strip edge, and fascia boards.
Hey, look at
Should
yours.
we list off it too?
I think you should.
And the bed, fascia board, shadow board. Is there any like?
Contractor will install
He's
new
towards
pipe.
the end of it, Chris.
drip
All right, thank
edge,
you.
And fascia board, whether or not it's needed, huh? The contractor will install a new standing seam roof and accessories per the manufacturer's recommendations.
So way in the back is 5 and 6.
What's that in section?
There we are.
Those are the
Oh,
pictures
these-
that
oh.
Skip's looking at.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I think that if we do want, I can't remember if we do, I guess it could be a separate set of work, but like normally that soffit work isn't part of
Right.
a roof.
Roofing?
No, so
Do we want to include it in this though? I mean,
makes
if we're gonna
sense.
be there anyway.
just isn't necessary, I don't know whether it's necessary for this building, we would just need to call it out that it would be.
Okay. So I'm going to add that to item G. It
think-
says, new pipe food, strip edge, and fascia board.
Yeah, and then soffit work, soffit replacement on
You want
the
to,
town hall. If I recall, the soffit needed to be replaced.
I think so. There was an
Yeah,
issue
town
with
hall.
it. There's also, there's something going on with the soffit over here too. But on page 5, under E, down towards the bottom, it says the contractor will examine the wood trim at the eaves for deterioration. Replace any deteriorated boards with matching dimensions and profile of the original boards. So that would kind of cover like fascia, shadow board, anything like that. And maybe we could add something about the soffit just into that paragraph.
Yeah, or we could just write and repair soffits as necessary.
Yeah.
Does that work?
wherever you want to,
Okay.
Either in E
Or both.
or G or both. Yeah.
okay, what's office there?
Repair soffits as necessary. 'Cause they don't have to replace all the soffits.
Right, I wouldn't
Okay.
think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think they'd have to replace all the fascia either, just, but we have that if
I
damage,
just
right?
wonder whether the bats have moved back in.
And Liz, would you be willing,
I haven't found any droppings
in
downstairs.
the event that I'm not always available, the
Yeah,
two of
I
us,
can
would
be
you
like
be a project
backup.
consultant too?
Sure.
Can we
Yep.
add Liz as a project consultant too?
Can we have it like a hierarchy, just so we're not, like, I'll be there if you're not
Sure.
available, just so it's not like
Be
confusing
the
with too many
assistant.
I can put my name
hands in the
first.
pot or whatever.
No.
Skip, this is great. Thank you for
Yeah.
cleaning this up.
So if somebody expresses an interest, now there's gonna be some kind of a shorter advertisement, right?
It's up to you guys, how you want to advertise this.
No.
What do you mean by shorter?
Well,
Shorter in
something that
timeframe?
doesn't cost, $2,000. It's not gonna
And
have all.
there's no harm in this is a naive question, like, but we can send this to
Contractor.
contractors,
Oh,
right?
definitely.
Yeah, that is maybe more likely.
Well, yeah, but we,
Yeah.
yeah,
We do have to advertise it though.
Yeah.
right,
But we can
exactly,
send it to roofer contractors. Yeah.
yeah, right. But then they'll get this whole thing.
But some of it, I mean, I think that if it comes with a little bit of explanation, like, it's pretty standard, especially all the insurance pieces
Right.
are pretty standard. Like, if they're
You'll have
carrying
that.
insurance, then
Yeah.
it's gonna cover this.
But the original one was really chock-a-block full of.
The scary one.
Yeah. So instead of 28 pages, now it's like 30 pages or 20 pages.
With a double-sided, you covered it out.
And it's also a bigger part, it's 2 roofs, you know, it's 2.
So what color do you guys decide you want?
I mean, I'm okay with black, or I'm okay with like galvanized,
I don't know if it comes galvanized.
What, standing seam roof has to have a color?
no, it doesn't have to. It could be like a gray. I'm happy with a
Why
gray.
can't it be metal colored? Like,
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it can be.
What?
Yeah, I think it can be.
he just said it can't.
I don't know. I was looking at colors. Why would you want a color?
I also.
I don't have strong feelings. I mean, I like a black roof. There's been some trouble getting black metal. Like, it's a very popular color, so there's been delays.
When I send you the
based
color
around that.
palette,
But this is, even though this building is not on the historic register, it is a historic building. And it would be nice to maintain some kind of a sense of
Yeah.
that it's
What color
sort of
was-
the way it was.
what color was the roof originally?
Metal.
No, what color?
Like
Metal.
silver, like galvanized
Yeah.
color.
It was never a black shingle?
Of course it would. Probably had green shingles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But green metal is a whole lot different from green shingles. And we're not trying to make it like it was.
I think we can be safe though if we do like a gray.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna look like metal.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll
and
I'll send you the color palette
Yeah.
and you can
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, I have it at my house.
So, I think any of the gray. Oh yeah, why don't we decide? We'll come up with a color for both. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna check into whether we can put a standing seam on the town hall.
Yes.
Great.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But you're looking for answers tonight, right? So you can proceed with this, or is it okay if we don't give you the color answer today?
Well, if I send you the color palette, I would hope you would respond in like 2 days or
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
And I'll reach out to the woman that Diana sent all that information to me, which I have, and see what she says, and then I'll contact someone at the state to see if the rules may have changed
Okay.
over the past years.
That's a lot of effort. Thank you.
But on the other hand, well, you're saying that FEMA wouldn't approve just a replacement of the roof that's there now?
If it can withstand a 90-mile-an-hour hurricane,
Yeah.
a screw-down roof might have trouble doing that.
And that's your opinion, or?
No, that's the opinion of FEMA.
Okay.
Because a lot of these specifications come from places like Florida and North Carolina, where a lot of the roofs are screwed on metal roofs. You know, very thin metal screwed on with rubber cap screws, and on they go. And the wind gets up underneath the screws, and then they're gone. You know, the roof is
Takes
gone.
off like a kite.
Yeah, sure
We're
does.
a little bit different from it.
Well,
But if we want FEMA to pay for it, then
Right.
we have to.
yeah, we have to
We gotta-
make some concessions.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Just had a question. You mentioned you said or made a comment about the Peterson snap clad system. Is that the snap block roofing that's like preformed?
Think so, yeah.
So do you think it's safe to assume we may have a little more trouble finding somebody if this has to be double lock? And I don't know with the 90-mile-an-hour hurricane. I was just thinking if it can be single lock, which snap clad is, but I just kind of like, I don't know, is that clear anywhere? It wasn't clear to me, but
Can you tell me where that is again?
so page 5,
In the beginning,
kind of in the middle, under G, like right in the middle of the page.
Each metal roofing panel is
Oh,
to
yes,
have
yeah.
a continuous interlock for improved performance and wind resistance. Peterson's snap clad system or approved equal.
It doesn't really say it needs to be double locked.
Right, and I think that's a good thing if it doesn't. I just, like, then there's like the UL 850 class 90 wind uplift rating, which I know nothing about. just curious if, like,
I wonder if we can
specify.
Google that. When you looked at that color chart, do you remember the roofing, the metal companies you were looking at? They all have their own. I can Google it right now. We could probably.
I could go back to my office and send it to you.
Okay. I can't remember the names of like.
I mean, I know like
displays.
the ones you can like Everlast and ABC, but I don't know. Those aren't standing seam. Those are like screw
Well, you
down.
just, maybe you can Google roof finish that KYNAR
Okay.
500 slash HYLAR 5000 PVDF.
Oh, look at Kynar 500 color chart. Come on.
Boom, Diana. You can look at the colors right now. What one do you like?
Metal.
Premium metallic, 500 coatings, and then there's the standard. I'm guessing the premium are more expensive.
Zane, what does that say? Zane gray? No, I can't. This one up there.
The top
That's too
or-
dark. Yeah.
What do you like about the anodize?
Which one's in? Oh, are you on a different chart than me?
Sorry, I'm just mixing it up. Kynar color selections.
Yeah. Do you like the zinc gray or you think
No,
it's too dark?
it's too
This
dark.
one's white. So
Go back
then,
down to the metal one.
so I bet they're gonna cost more because it says they're premium, but metallic silver.
Well, a dark roof will, in the wintertime.
I mean, that's probably the closest, right,
Yeah.
to just regular
That's
metal.
the reason why
Well, it shows if FEMA's paying for it. Can be the premium. Probably should be premium.
Don't say that too loud.
I won't be taking away. I don't know.
So I have another question to you contractor folks. Let's see. In the RFP, it's a 1-year warranty. Should it be more than that for workmanship?
That's pretty standard. Yeah.
50% when the materials are on site payment, and 50% when the job is completed.
I don't know. Some people want deposits up front.
When are we
I
planning on
think-
having this?
I'm sorry?
When are we planning on having this done?
Soon, hopefully.
It's gonna take us another month at least before we or 2 weeks before we finalize it, probably.
3 weeks before our next meeting, by
3
the way.
weeks. So then it needs to go out to bid. We probably should give folks like at least a month and a half. So we're looking at maybe in the fall that it would get done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think probably we were talking about payment, right? Upfront lump sum or
Yeah.
I would say 50-50 if that's something that we could do 50 upfront and then 50 later or have it spread a bit.
Yeah.
I guess
What do
it
you
would
think,
depend on
Chris?
what they
I
ask
think
for.
that's fine. I think everybody's got their own way of doing it. Depends on the contractor, so they can they'll look at this and say, well, it's 50. You know, once the materials are dropped, they get 50%. If that doesn't work for them, they can choose not to bid on it. Yeah.
And with the tariffs on steel and stuff like that, that might make it impossible to tell.
Right now, and I don't know what the square footage are, but standing seam right now I think is running about $11 a square foot or $1,100 a square. Which is a lot of money.
You're trying just for the material.
No, that's
Oh, for the
installed.
installation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we want a vented bridge cap?
Oh, what do we have now? Do we have attic vents? I haven't. We could look. Should we
We'd have to
look?
look.
Want to go look? I don't know about the town hall either.
I don't
but-
think we have a.
Well, this one out here's got that slack things up there, remember? Because one of the slats is in here.
So it's a gable end.
Yeah,
Cable
with
vent. Find out in a second.
the cupola thing.
There's some
bell
other colors. There's no other colors. I like a black.
There's no pink.
You might shake things up.
Bum light looks pretty. You see green all over the place. Always love dark green.
I'm partial to black.
Yeah.
No, not on an old building. New building maybe. but-
What if you want to retain the historic significance of this? It's probably a black roof. Black roof.
Have you seen
white
any
building.
black roofs anywhere around here? I'm gonna start taking a
I
survey.
have one.
Mine's
Yeah, but
black.
your house is new,
Mine's
and your
black.
house is new. I mean, you know, within the last 25 years. More, last 30 years, whatever,
50 years.
relatively new.
What does my old store building have on it?
Rust.
Because that's standing seam.
Oh, that's right, she had a new roof put on, didn't she?
No, we put it on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
So, according to AI, most Vermont schoolhouses, because this was a schoolhouse, had black or dark gray roofs made out of slate.
Slate roof, yeah, there you go.
So a dark gray, black would probably be
No.
keep the charm.
Skip, can we just have it say to keep it as it is? This is not, this ridge is not vented, thank you. And we don't know about the town hall, but can we just, in the,
Okay.
can it
They're
just,
gonna need although I think that they're, well,
Yeah.
There's no vented ridge cap on the town hall.
yeah, but they're gonna want I think they're gonna want a ridge cap, and I don't know whether it needs to be vented. Just because right now, they did the old school way. So they went up, they took these long pans, they snip the ribs, and then they go over the top.
Yeah.
And so it's like some clean look over, but nobody does that anymore. Everybody has like these ridge caps that they put on first,
Oh,
and then the
okay.
pans slide up
Slide up
into the ridge
Oh,
caps.
okay. Yeah,
So
that'll look.
they don't have to be vented. It doesn't have to be vented, but they do need a ridge cap,
Okay.
probably.
That's standard installations from what I've seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Ridge cap, like, just like you said.
Yeah.
right? But whether or not it's vented, we should just stick with, like, it's not vented here, but if it's vented at the town hall, we should probably.
But would you
keep
want it vented?
I would
I
keep it
don't
as
know
is.
why
I
it
mean,
would.
if there's gable end vents, you shouldn't need it. And there is, that's what's going on here, but
It's
I mean,
worked
I
so
wouldn't
far, what we
change
have.
it.
So if we start to mess with stuff, sometimes you create problems, you know. So it can have a ridge cap, doesn't need to be a vented ridge cap.
Okay.
Should we verify? I could drive by and just verify if the town hall has a vented one or not vented, and we could let you
Do
know.
that too.
I think
Okay,
it
that
has
works.
gable vents.
Okay,
There's no vented ridge cap on the town hall.
okay.
It's screwed down on a roof over there.
Yeah.
And this is a standing seam. So is that pretty much what?
Yeah, I'll check with the Historical Society, or State of Vermont,
Great,
and find out what we can do.
great.
I feel like we're closer to having a roof than we've ever been.
I know.
It's not the Historical Society, it is the Division for Historic Preservation. When you start looking, yeah.
All right.
So there are two other RFPs for this building
Mm-hmm.
that I sent out a couple of weeks ago,
Is it windows and,
Basement.
basement and windows.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I sent it to Diana again today.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that.
What I'll do is I'll work on those as well,
okay.
using this boilerplate, you know, edit as necessary, and then put in scopes of work for basement work and replacing these windows.
The one from Exeter, New Hampshire on the basement, that was a request for a plan on
Right.
how to, yeah,
Yeah,
not to
because,
do anything, but
They
a
were looking
plan and
at-
proposal.
right, they were looking at where did the water come in? and
Right.
Find how it's entering the building and fix it.
And make recommendations, right, so you're gonna make up some recommendations, right?
I'm not gonna make them up.
Oh, okay,
I was hoping someone else could, because
yeah,
that's kind of out of my scope of work, you know,
Yeah.
to dig and put in a French drain and,
you don't wanna call Matt Clark?
I mean, it's free. We could,
Huh?
We could have one like one of those companies come.
No.
Well,
But as far as the windows, I don't know why you can't just call a couple of window contractors and find out what they've got. I mean, one of them advertises something that's not glass. I think it was Renewal by Anderson advertising something that's, anyways, seems like you could get a.
To be
I mean,
hurricane proof.
there's so many, they're advertising so much, it would seem like you could get somebody to come out here and take a look and,
you would hope so. But it's gonna be more than $8,000.
you think?
Oh, yeah, for 2 windows, 3 windows, that's $8,000.
Wow,
And do you wanna replace that window in kind?
what's wrong with this window?
You know, I'm just saying.
Oh.
I'm just asking.
Okay. Yeah,
We can talk about that next time, right?
Yeah, we don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And Robin would like an emergency exit.
And that would be, would that be
Like a what?
mitigation if there was a flood and she needed to get out? Like, can we fit that into the mitigation somehow?
Wow,
what's that?
that's a stretch.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
I would argue
I
that.
didn't hear that.
Oh, we were talking about, there's no emergency exit here, there's only one
Oh,
way
that,
out.
oh god,
So
yeah.
I was just wondering if we could fit that into the mitigation stuff somehow.
On where you would put it.
I would put it somewhere where there's a window.
Behind you?
Sure. Well, no, there's baseboard
Or
heat
the one
there.
that's behind the coffee
No, we don't use the
maker.
baseboard heat.
Right, but it'd just be more work. Like, it'd be easier if there wasn't. Like, maybe
that one?
That one.
There's no baseboard heat there.
No, this is the only room that has a baseboard heat.
Okay, so I'll make the edits, repaginate everything, and get a document to you next week.
Yeah.
Next week's 4th of July though. But
Next meeting, you mean?
No, next week. he
Next
said.
week,
next
okay,
week,
yeah.
so
Short week.
short week.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
we're getting
Thank
there.
you. Yeah, we are.
And I won't bother about colors until
Okay.
next time.
It's gonna be 14 days.
Yeah, so like I tried to start it to tell you before, my only concern about this basement dewatering is that I don't think there's a big problem. I'm just worried that going around and starting to dig out around the foundation that hasn't been disturbed in many, many, many years could just end up more problem than it's worth. You could put in a drain and then you have to go around the tanks, the gas tanks, and then you have to go around the bulkhead, and then you have to go around the septic tank, and then you have to watch out for the sewer line and the water line and the other water line, and it just seems like a lot of work for, I don't know. I can't believe there's that much runoff out there, but
Well, it flooded. It flooded, the basement flooded.
it did, but it flooded from groundwater, not from roof water.
The groundwater would be mitigated by the
Right.
curtain drain.
Yeah,
Yes.
The groundwater that came in from over that direction?
that's out of my
See,
scope.
somebody else has to
All I know
look at
is-
this, yeah.
Also, there's a
So
crack
where
in
does your roof water
foundation.
go if it doesn't go to the ground?
Right. What do you mean? Of course it goes to the ground. It all goes to the ground.
So it's all groundwater.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, eventually it is, yeah. When it gets down there, like I've only owned 2 houses, but they both had dirt basements, and the one I'm in now has a lot of ledge in the basement, but the part that's not ledge, when it's a really rainy week in the summer or in the spring, we'll get like 2 or 3 inches of water comes up out of the ground. It doesn't come down the hill. Eventually it does come down the hill, but it doesn't come down as sheets. It comes up. And then during the 2023 flood, we had like much, like 8 inches instead of 4 inches. But it was groundwater and it did go away eventually, right? It just seems like that water that came in from over in that direction is, I don't know. I don't see how the roof drain and the gutters are gonna help that. We'll keep asking around, I guess.
It'll move the water away from the building. You know, it won't just
Maybe
sit there and penetrate the water. It gets
the
moved.
water that comes off the roof,
Yeah, and the water that
not the
comes-
water that comes out the,
That'll be mitigated too. So anyhow, that's another RFP. Let's get through the window one first. All right,
Thank you, sir.
anything more?
I think we're good, right?
I think so.
domestic pet nuisance control ordinance? Oh, you already did that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
You did that.
Good luck with that.
You,
So just one question while I'm here. Did the bicycle signs ever get installed?
That's a
I
great
haven't-
question.
I haven't seen any.
oh, oh,
I'm gonna say no.
I'll put it on the agenda for next meeting.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
Should we?
I haven't seen the ones for the parking lot yet either.
was it,
that's
did
right.
you
Haven't
expect
seen
Alfie
an
to do
invoice
those
come through
too?
yet.
He did say he would.
The no parking overnight?
No, the town clerk, assistant town clerk and treasurer.
Yeah, you can order those, you know?
No, he said he would do it though.
Instead of waiting till the next meeting, which is, did I hear that right, 3 weeks away? Do you want to just text Alfie and ask him if he can fit it in his schedule? Like,
What would you have him prioritize it above?
What's the most lingering?
Huh?
What's the most lingering request?
I'll just.
Oh,
Why couldn't the other two do it on the Thursday that Alfie doesn't work?
right.
Anyhow,
We'll figure it out.
thank you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And thanks for reminding us about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep reminding. So I'm gonna pass this along to you guys. I've read or skimmed so
Lily,
far.
could you put those lights on, please?
Chris, which one is that? Sorry.
This is what John
Oh, just
Gordon
put
brought to
both of
us.
them.
Oh, yeah, emergency mitigation, or
Yes,
emergency.
I know.
And I think
Whatever, preparedness.
I think it requires my signature, but I don't think that there's really anything to fill out. I think I just need to sign it, but
He said there were places where we needed to initial.
I can't find it though. Oh yeah, here's, well, no, this is the VT. I don't think that's my initials. Are there? There's the state of Vermont. And then I am assuming we are the subrecipient.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll let you
yeah,
look at it.
yeah.
I'm happy to sign it, but I can't find any other places that I need to initial anything
Unique.
in there.
Grant trucking. Oh, wait, that's upside down. ID.
Do any of you want this quote estimate for the roof here for the chimney?
We should have given that to Skip over here. I think let's just we'll send Skip a note saying that it's here so that he can maybe have that.
Okay.
Because he's gonna coordinate that as well.
Because I can send him a copy of it.
Would you do that?
Yep.
That'd be great. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
Robin, did you ever find out who owned that red car that was out there for so long?
Out here?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, no. Are we all set for me?
I think you're all set.
Okay, well, have a good night, Lily. Thanks, you too. Oh, you know, before I do head out, any questions from last meeting? Any clarifications? You know, we're here, I'm here, we're at the office. We can take some time if anybody needs some time.
I don't think I have any specific questions
Okay.
right now. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Okay, I've lost a page here. 1,
Now you've done it.
4,
Uh-oh.
6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Please initial that you have read and understand each attachment. That's where it is, right there.
All right.
All right.
Oh, we'll do that. So I initial here. Please initial that you, yeah, okay.
Please initial that you have read and understand in all these little lines, and then you sign over
Hopefully,
here.
there's a lot there.
Oh, you don't have to.
I know, but I'm hoping that John is gonna take care of all of it.
Yeah, right. Please initial that you, okay. 14 pages, including the following attachments. Grant agreement, scope of work, payment provisions, customary state agreement provisions. Wow, okay. There's that.
Can I steal your pen for like 1 second? Thank you.
Are you done on that one?
Hang on. Do you want me to take a peek at this one if you're done with it?
It's upside down. I mean, it's other page.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, forget it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, let's see.
All right. Sent that to Callis. Should I ask those watershed folks to come at the next meeting, or you want me to push it out a little bit further?
Well, next meeting is probably good.
Okay.
3 weeks away.
What is the date on it?
July 14th. So did we leave it that you're gonna call Sabina?
Yeah, I'll give her a call.
They must have finished the Woodbury Community Cookbook.
Okay, done.
I forgot to ask Lily if that,
Did you want to look at this list?
Oh, I did. And I only
Make a lot of sense.
I skimmed it. I only saw one signature line.
Yeah.
no, when he mentioned initials, I mentioned that's what he meant. I didn't
Yeah,
see any
yeah.
other places.
Hey, Robin.
Yeah?
If I sign this and leave this here for John, is there? Are you're not, sorry, I thought you were headed out. But if you're going to be here, is there a good place to leave this for him? Just
Oh, you just put it in the middle of my desk.
okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
And you can either scan it and send it to, yeah, I better not try to scan it because the way he's got it double-sided, they're
Yep.
upside down, so that would not
Either that or I
scan
can
very
just
well.
photocopy it and then scan it.
Yeah. Or just send the signature pages, which are the first couple.
Or send him a note,
pages.
say it's done, come get it.
And again, Diana.
Or do we keep the original here?
Thank you.
That I don't
Good
know,
question
he
for-
should take it.
Yeah.
and-
It's a good
Okay.
question for him. Alright.
So Sergeant Law Office only charged $600 for that, so. Title search in the fire department.
It's 23rd, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
25. Okay. Hand this back to Robin. Thank you, Robin.
Yep.
There wasn't a paper clip or anything with it.
Okay.
He's lying. He put it in his pocket.
Headed out the door with it.
Okay.
So John is emergency management at Woodbury, Vermont, right?
Right.
Okay. So we are running out of time. I guess we will.
I have a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you have anything while we're waiting? Do you have anything else you want on the agenda for? I guess the agenda will go to Diana for the next meeting.
Okay.
But I have Vista raises. Do you know what? I'm sure this is very reasonable, but do you know what they're currently paid? They don't tell us that.
Would have been helpful. Plus they have a 3.5% raise coming July 1st anyways.
And would this? How does that work? Does that take effect immediately, or would we budget? Are they asking for the next budget season, or
I don't know
Did
that they
that take effect?
clarified that.
They're asking that it take effect.
immediately?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not gonna wait a year. So, let's see, Wells, as of the end of '24, he was making $20.25.
And he's asking for 25, right?
And what's this, her mom, Bonnie was making $16.88. So with a 3.5% raise, that would bring her up to about, I don't know, 17.5.
And she's asking for 20. I mean,
It's pretty.
wait, we're not
reasonable.
talking about it right now, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, we can, but
Right.
we won't make a decision until the next meeting.
It seems totally reasonable to me.
Agreed.
I'm also looking, I just went through payroll and saw like what other people are making, so it seems fair.
So anyways, on the next agenda, I've got that. We'll bring that up. We can
Okay.
decide there. We should bring up. I'm gonna call. Coffee right now.
It is getting kind of crazy what they have to do. I didn't say that, but I have to listen to it when it goes
We didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it.
for that. Look at that. So, yeah, $21.84 is what it paid to clean the building. So I honestly didn't didn't realize that certain people are paid to come to these meetings. We're the only ones that aren't. Everybody else seems to be.
You spell Q, like if you're standing in a queue, it's Q.
Q-U-E.
E-U-E, maybe?
Can you, hold on, how to spell, I'm gonna type this in.
Q-U-E-U-E.
Q-U-E-U-E, a line or sequence of people or vehicles awaiting their turn to be attended or to proceed. Q-U-E-U-E.
Alright, I sent Alfie a text about that.
Cool.
About what? Oh, about
The bicycle signs and the parking signs.
Oh yeah, so the agenda, what else did you have? Sorry. Bicycle signs.
Parking signs, and then list of raises.
The offer that was on the table, do we want or need
Let's
to talk about
this until
that?
he goes.
Do we like,
Which office?
The one, there's a volunteer.
She can't,
yeah.
yeah, you can't put somebody like that in charge of a department that they know nothing
I'm
about.
not sure that was the
I don't
suggestion.
think that was-
Well,
Or like-
you'd have to be though, you'd have to really know everything that goes on.
Yeah. I
And
think that was like a suggestion that maybe there could be like some sort of
Communication.
whether it was a.
yeah, well, that was what
Yeah.
you guys had decided to do that months ago. You and Michael were gonna work on a monthly update newsletter for, that's just, I don't know. I mean, it's a good idea, but
I think we talked
Cabot
about
does
that
a
we
lot of
should-
stuff that we don't do.
Yeah.
I think we talked about doing it. I don't remember you being the one who had to.
I mean, maybe I should, but
No, you got a lot on your plate, Chris.
I don't think it's, I mean, we do,
Do
well,
one of
for,
you have a key to the door?
I do.
Okay.
I'm not sure I have any.
Oh, because we have to lock it. Is that?
Is there anything else? No, is there anything else you would like me to do before I leave?
I had something I was gonna ask you, but I don't remember. Oh, I can't do it until Jerome turns off his camera.
I know I'm good, Robin.
No, it was something for Chris anyways, never mind.
You sure?
Yeah. Can we
Because if
adjourn
you're
the
looking for a
meeting?
key, I have a key.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I
even know where my
have to
car keys are.
Yeah, I have a key, yeah.
Fortunately, I'm not that far away.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
All
Right
right.
here.
All those in favor?
I
Motion passes. We adjourn at 8:31.